Hi, my name is Al Green. Not that one, but the struggling guy who was in the music industry for years trying to sell talent and songs to agents. The agents befriended me and taught me techniques that I want to pass on to you through my program, which is called You Can Talk, You Can Sell. Anyone who has ever taken this program has excelled in selling and either risen to the top of their company, their team, or the top of their field. It's called You Can Talk, You Can Sell, and you can get it right here. Today's lesson, I'm going to cover something very, very simple for you, which is, are you truly prepared? Prepared to deal with your competition, prepared to deal with a customer who you might feel intimidated to sell to because they are in a much higher bracket than you think you are. But are you completely prepared? That's really a key issue, because a lot of people don't really have the preparation when they're doing sales. They just walk in and they wing it, and there's nothing wrong with it. If you're an extroverted person, you'll understand what it is to approach people and talk. If you're somewhat introverted, and don't let that get in the way, because I have met plenty of people who feel or identify as introverted, and yet they do not have any reservation about selling. They just do their job, and that's perfectly good. But are you completely prepared? Do you know your product line better than anybody else in your division? You want to be number one, be up on top of the sales team? Then what you might want to think about is, are you really, really, truly prepared? Now remember, the stronger the opening, the stronger the closing. You're making an impression. Sometimes it's not just the first time. Sometimes you go back a third or fourth time. And sometimes there's other people in the room. And sometimes you're led to other people to talk to. That's happened many times to me over the years, where I'd go in to see person A, and they go, you know what? I'm going to have you talk to my partner over here in my department. He heads up the technology department, or whatever department it might be. And then I would be sent to talk to him. And I'd knock on the door. This guy would let me in, and I'd say, I was sent over by Mr. A to speak to you. And I would say, my name is ALFRED Green, and I am with XYZ Company. And he said, you might be interested in just hearing me out for about 30 seconds. And I was prepared at the time to basically say something to the guy that would get his attention. And one of the things we're going to cover in my workshop, which is called the Six-Figure Selling System, is all of these different ways of dealing. Improvising. How do you improvise? You cannot walk in with a cookie cutter mentality thinking that you're going to recite some pitch that you were taught by some sales training somewhere and that it's going to work. Those are just general blueprints, just outlines to kind of get you started. But you're going to be past that point. You're going to be at a completely different point. You're going to be at a place where when you are walking and talking and you're working the system, the six-figure selling system is going to get you feeling as natural as can be. If you look at any person that works as a detective, or even on some of the TV shows that depict a good detective, one of the things that the best ones do is they get people talking. And that's the key. If you can get people talking, you can have conversations that work in their favor and then ultimately in yours. But how do you get people talking? It's a matter of just directing questions about them and listening. And when they say something significant, you can elaborate with that. It's not that hard to do. It's a very simple process. And that's something we're going to go over in my workshop. I'd like you to join me, the Six-Figure Selling System. One of the things we're going to be talking about in the first workshop is, how do you approach if you're brand new, you have no sales training whatsoever, or you've been doing this for so long and things have changed, and you need to get in touch with your future client, your prospect, And so you do, and you make an appointment, or however you do it. Ironically, one of the most incredible things that I used to do was something I learned from a top-selling person. Again, these are not all my techniques. These are techniques that come from the top salespeople. And that was go to a company and get inside without an appointment, but get seen anyway, as if you had an appointment. Then you can make an appointment to come back. Now, how do you do that? A lot of times people are baffled by that, because what I'm dealing with is I'm talking to you. If you're a professional salesperson, or you are selling something that you have created, a project, and it doesn't matter if it's a play or it's a piece of art that you have created, or it's an invention that you want to sell. You are acting in the role of a salesperson, and all of us, our whole lives, are selling. From the first time when we're little kids and we're selling our parents on giving us whatever toy we want, or whatever it might be, whatever food we want, okay? It's more than just asking. It's finding a way to get the attention of the other person. And we feel annoyed when we're growing up and people don't pay us attention when we ask for them. So one of the things you might want to remember is that when you're in sales, if you get a no, it's not that the person is saying no to you as much as they're indifferent about what you're selling. So you have to do your research and be prepared to know that the product that you're selling is something that they truly can use. Is it something that they need? Not always. Sometimes it's something that they want. Years ago, I worked with a guy named David. Now, David was an introvert. He was no salesperson to speak of, and yet David would always bring home the bacon and make the sale. And the reason why is he would go in and he would talk to people because he was told to do it. So he didn't care. He would just go in and he would talk to people and he would find out things. And he'd say, my company tells me that this would work good for you. And he would sell them whatever it was that was the products that they sold. He had a catalog of over 1,000 items. And back in the days, before the internet, everything was on paper. Catalogs were on paper. And sales were on paper. Flyers that were sent out by companies were pieces of paper that were 24 by 36 to unfold with all kinds of deals. And then as a rep, I would show up, and so would some of the other people with these flyers, and unfold them and say, did you see this? We sent it out to you. And whether they got it or not is not the point. The point is we'd get their attention to it, and we'd say, now, I see that looking by some of the things that you have here, that item A over here on the left side of page 2 is something that you could use. I got a great deal on it if you want to buy 3 or more or whatever it might be. But David would somehow always manage to get these ridiculous number of sales. So here I am thinking I'm doing really good. I'm selling 5 of them, and Dave is selling like 14. And it's like, how did he do that? He didn't know how to do it. He just talked. And in his talking, he got the other person talking. And ironically, because Dave was not much of a talker, as most salespeople, we are talkers, David was a guy who basically got the other person talking. And that is a key right there. How do you do that? We'll cover all that in the workshop. So join me in the 6-figure selling system. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to go over every type of scenario, ones that are not covered, ones that you can't find in the books, ones that are basically sales techniques that I have never seen trained anywhere. And I've been to, I don't know how many hours of sales training. I've listened to so many CDs and recordings of sales seminars. I've studied with some of the best people, not personally, but listened to their tapes, their recordings. I've read their books. I've been to their seminars. I've been with some of the greatest people in sales that I think I could ever align myself with and become friends, and then pick their brains for techniques of things that work. And I want to share that with you. So when I share that with you, I want you to join me in the 6-figure selling system, and let's get you up and running. If you're brand new, typically the people that fall into my tutorship are people that are age 30 to 45 that are either beginning in sales, have never sold before, or found themselves in a sales position because of a promotion, or they had a product that they just don't understand. With the times have changed and they can't really sell that product anymore. I'll give you an example. I know a particular person who does copier repair, and he would sell contracts. And the problem is, if you go on the internet now and you type in copy repair, you're going to get 1,000 people that you can contact. And there's going to be all kinds of reasons why people can change and not be just basically subscribed to one particular company. A lot of times companies have learned to stay with one service bureau because of the fact that the service bureau is the best one that they've ever had, and they treat them very, very carefully. And so they treat them very important, like they're very important. So what you want to do is think about all of the techniques, whether you're selling a service, whether you're selling anything intangible, like advertising or insurance, or you're selling real estate, or you're selling large vehicles, or anything that's a high-ticket item. A high-ticket item could be anywhere from $100,000 on up. And believe me, when you talk to real estate people in the market, you're going to find those guys that sell homes that are worth $2 million on up, especially in a high valued area of a major metropolitan city. We'll cover all that, and I will personally answer your questions. So join me in the six-figure selling system. Register, and we'll get this kicked off. See you then.